Hey, Riley. It's great to chat with you today. Thanks so much for joining us. Just super excited to chat with you and get to know a little bit more about you. Would you mind sharing a little bit about your background and you as an individual? And then I have some questions for you.
Yeah, so my name is Riley Simmons. I am a track and field athlete at the University of Memphis. I'm a little bit of different of a track and field athlete. I throw the shot put, hammer, and discus. In indoor season, I throw the weight. So I get to throw heavy things for fun, and I love it.
Awesome. That sounds like a lot of fun. When did you first fall in love with throwing, with track and field?
Yeah, so my sports journey is kind of crazy. I was a gymnast for 13 years. So a lot of people would not think of that when they see me because I'm almost 6 feet tall, but gymnastics was my whole life. And I really thought that was going to take me to college, but I hit a big growth spurt and gymnastics was not for me anymore. My size kind of just got in the way. So going into high school, I wanted to find a sport where my size was going to work in my advantage. So I played basketball, I swam, and I tried track and field. And I never even knew what throwing was. I kind of wanted to go run or pole vault or do something like that. But I fell in love with lifting weights first. So before track, I fell in love with the weight room. My dad taught me all about the weight room. And there was some type of power I felt when I walked into the weight room. And that was the coolest feeling ever, being this strong female in the weight room. And so the head track coach came out to me. He was like, you need to throw. These two go hand in hand. If you're strong in the weight room, you can throw something far. And I was like, okay, cool. So I started throwing. And at first I was a little hesitant about it because it's not the most respected sport in high school. It's definitely seen as oh, they just go throw and it's easy. A lot of people see it as easy, which is crazy. But once I started doing it, I fell in love with the power of it. You have to be so strong. You have to be so athletic for it. And that's what people don't understand. It's very misconceived to be an easy sport. But I fell in love with being strong first before I fell in love with track. And then once I started getting good at it, I really fell in love with the process of training and the results kind of came after that. So I definitely fell in love with training before I did track itself, but that's kind of my journey all the way up to throwing things.
Yeah. It sounds like there's a lot of dedication involved.
Yes,
yeah.
A lot.
Yeah. At what moment, was there a moment where you knew that you wanted to play or rather throw at the collegiate level?
Yeah, so I always knew I wanted to be a college athlete. I just didn't know what sport it was going to be. So college athletics, I just knew I wanted to be a Division I college athlete. I knew that was for me. But I found out it was going to be track probably around my junior year. It was right before COVID hit, which was devastating. But right around my junior year, my coach was like, Riley, you can do this. And I was like, wait, what? Seriously? I've only been doing this for 2 years. What do you mean? And he was like, no, you can do this in college. And the second he said that to me, I bought all in. I stopped playing basketball. I stopped swimming. I just bought completely into this one sport. And I was like, okay, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it right. So I put everything I could into it. COVID hit. I trained in my garage. I took videos of myself throwing in my driveway, and that's how I got recruited. So it's the craziest thing. I made an Instagram page. It was called Riley Simmons Throws. And I started posting videos of myself during COVID while everything was shut down. I had no season, no visits, nothing. And I started taking videos of literally in my driveway. And that's how I got recruited. It's the weirdest thing ever, but.
Oh, thank you so much for sharing that.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Do you feel that throwing, being a part of the track and field team has had an impact on your personality? And if so, how?
Yeah, I definitely think it has. I'm a very dominant, independent personality person, if you can't tell. But I love being a leader. My dad had kind of taught me growing up, be the person somebody wants to follow and not the person following somebody. There's this brand called Lions Not Sheep, and it's teaches you to be a lion and not a sheep. You want to be the leader of the pack and not the one kind of following along. So I've always been the girl to start a new trend or do something crazy or weird. And I want people to look up to me, not necessarily just want to follow me, but more so look up to me because I'm doing something that can empower somebody. So throwing is such a huge part of that because I said, it was a disrespected sport. It's not the highest paid sport. It's not the most broadcasted sport. So I think being a female, especially in that sport, gives me so much power to be able to go and show young girls and even just young kids in general that doing a sport that's not football or baseball or softball, you can still be so strong and powerful and make an impact in that sport. I think throwing has just showed me how to be unique. And that's so my personality. I love being the different girl in the room, and throwing's only enhanced that for me. So.
Oh, I love that. I want to hear more about some of those. You were saying you're always doing something different.
Yeah, I feel like my style is just very different. Like, well, for example, in my family, I have like, my mom is like 5'1". My dad's like maybe 5'8.5". He says he's 5'10". He's not 5'10". So like, I've always just, where I came from.
You outgrew both of your parents.
Yes. Okay. Like I have like just generations of family that's not ever as tall as me. And it's really crazy. But I came from like a great, great, great aunt who's really tall. So like I was always just kind of like looked different. So I kind of like fed into that. I was bullied really bad in high school. So going through that, I think brought out like, it almost like fed me to like, okay, why don't you just take this and run with it? Like, why don't you just take people making fun of you because you're stronger than the boys and make that really cool? So I had to kind of get torn down to build myself up to be the different girl in the room. But as far as just like specific things, like I do crazy thing with my nails. Clearly I have 2 different color nails. Just like style in general. I love like just super different looks. Like I never want to look like somebody else. And that's just like I'm a natural blonde. We just talked about this. I dye my hair black. Like it's just like little things I want to do something. And it makes me happy. Like it makes me happy first, but it also makes me stand out. And that's like something that I love to do is just stand out in a good way.
Yeah. Yeah, you definitely stand out in a good way.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I know you're at Memphis now, and you were at a couple of other schools before Memphis. You had a couple of transitions, a couple of transfers. When you think about that, is there anything that was missing from those past experiences that you see now in your experience at Memphis?
I love this question. So I'm technically at my 4th school, which is like, it makes people like look at me like, oh my gosh, this girl. But it's not what I chose, but I feel like it's what was supposed to happen for me to be at Memphis. So I started at Mississippi State University. And it was one of my dream schools out of high school. It really was. But like I said, through COVID, everything was canceled. So I never got to visit there, meet the coach in person. Everything was over a telephone. And communication is not the same over a telephone as it is in person. Like I have really good gut feelings in person about people. And so I think that was like a big thing I was missing through that recruiting process. So I committed and signed over the phone, basically. And when I got there, I was a gymnast. So it's a lot of discipline. Like your coaches are like so like hard on you all the time. So I lacked the discipline when I got to Mississippi State. It was more so like laid back, like kind of do what you want. What do you want to do today? Like I'm not used to that. Like I want somebody to tell me what to do, how to do it, so I can trust what I'm doing. I'm going to work hard, but I need somebody to give me that plan so I can trust them, and I'll put my all into it. I just wasn't trusting the training I was doing. And so that was part of it. And then I got really sick. So I did catch COVID while I was at Mississippi State. It was the worst experience ever. I got the really bad end of it where I lost my taste and smell. I couldn't eat for like a really long time. I was like putting down Core Power protein shakes. And as a thrower, you need some size and strength and muscle on your body. So that really defeated me physically. I wasn't able to lift weights like I was. I wasn't able to throw. I lost like 30 pounds. As a thrower, that's like crazy. And it does affect what you're doing. So I didn't really have the support I needed through all of that, through the staff and just like support systems there. Cause I was an 18-year-old all by myself for the first time and all this was happening at once. So I just kind of needed that fresh start. Like I needed something new. I needed to get out of there and just restart. So I redshirted, which basically means you don't compete that season and you get to go compete it somewhere else. So I redshirted and got into the transfer portal. And I was really excited because I was like finally able to go visit coaches and like meet them and stuff. So through all of that, I got on the transfer portal. It was an amazing experience. I took visits. I visited Auburn University, Missouri, and Florida State. I loved all 3, but I fell in love with Auburn and Florida State. And went to Auburn. I signed, committed. I was so excited. I loved the coach, everything. And like 2 weeks before I was supposed to move there, I get a call from the head coach. This is kind of where throwing gets a little downgraded. I get a call from the throws coach, and he's like, hey, we hired a new head coach, and he cut 5 of the throwers. Like, your money's gone. He didn't sign your money. And I was like, what are you talking about? Like, the portal closes in 3 days, and you're telling me I don't have a spot on a team right now. And so this is just kind of a big thing that happens in track and field. A lot of head coaches don't have that respect for throwers. It's sprinters and jumpers and distance runners that are really at the top of the list for some people. And it's really sad, but it's just the way it is. And so my money was gone. So I could either be a walk-on or go somewhere else. And I was like, I can't afford out-of-state school. So I need to go somewhere else in 3 days. So I called the Florida State coach and I was like, listen, I need a spot. Like, give me a chance. And I was terrified because I just told this coach no. Like, I just told him I'm not coming to your school. And so thank the Lord, he gave me a spot, and I was so excited again. Like I just kept like getting my hopes back up. I was like, you can't give up on this sport. You just got to stay positive about it. Went to Florida State, loved every second of it. I was there for 2 weeks. My coach sat me down. Hey, I'm leaving. I just took a job in Kansas. And I'm like, bro. So this is the first time I was like knocked. And I was like, all right, track and field's not for me. I'm done. And I was like, listen, I can't do this anymore. Like, I can't just keep getting let down. Like I'm putting all my all into something and it just keeps letting me down. And so I went home and I started packing a suitcase and I was like, I'm dropping out of school. This is it, Mom. I'm coming home. Like I'm going to get a job. This is it for me. And like, it still gives me like goosebumps to think about because I went to go see the compliance guy because I was like, I can't transfer again. You know, the rule where it was like, you could only transfer a certain amount of times. And I was like, I can't transfer again. This is over with. And so I was packing my bag and she was like, just go talk to the compliance guy, see what you can do. So I go there and I'm like, listen, is there any possible chance that I can go somewhere else? And he was like, no, like you can't until you graduate. And I'm like, not even a sophomore at this point. So I can't graduate right now. So I'm like crying, walking out of compliance, and he calls me. The compliance guy calls me after, like, as I'm walking out, and this is like the craziest thing that's ever happened in my career. He calls me. He's like, come back to my office. I found something. Walk back into his office. He found a loophole for me to be able to transfer because a coach left and like money, like there was some type of loophole he found that I was able to transfer one more time. And I was like, okay, as much as I wanted to quit and just stop, I was like, I was just given this one time for a reason. Let me just see what it does for me. I was like, let me see what this does. So I was like, I got in the portal one more time. The coach that they hired in was just, he wasn't for anybody. He wasn't for us there. He didn't give us what we needed. Everybody transferred and I was the last one left at Florida State. I was like, I need to either leave or I need to be done with the sport. And I started calling coaches and I was like, I'm not going to a Power 5 school. I'm done with the Power 5. The big schools have not given me what I needed. It was kind of a pride thing I had to swallow. Like, listen, I know you're good enough for a big school, but they haven't given you what you need right now. So why not just try talking to some mid-major D1 schools and see what they can give you? So I had 3 coaches tell me, call Memphis. The coach there's for you. Call Memphis. Call Memphis. I'm like, Memphis? Like, I don't know anything about them. Like, I don't know the coach, nothing. And I call this coach, or no, they tell me to call him. I wake up the next morning being in the portal, not even 12 hours. And I got a message from the Memphis coach without me even reaching out to him.
Seriously?
Yes,
Wow.
it's like the craziest, like.
It was meant to be.
Yes. It's like, I literally have goosebumps right now still because it's just like, and I call him and I was on the phone with him for 2 hours. Like, I'd have never talked to a coach that long, especially the first time I've spoken to him. And he was just like, Riley, I have never spoken to an athlete this long. Like, you need to be here. Like, this is gonna work. And I was like, I'm gonna take a chance on you. I'm gonna come visit. I took a couple of visits here and there, but I knew at the end of the day, like, I had never felt like that talking to a coach. Signed. Now I'm here, and I had my best season yet. I've the best physically in shape I've been, the best mentally. Like, I'm happy. I'm finally doing the things I want to career-wise, but I'm also like getting better as an athlete. He's put so much trust and faith into me. So I feel like all of that happened just so I could be here because I would have never spoken to Memphis out of high school, ever. So I feel like I had to go through all of that to be able to be right here where I'm at today. So
Riley, thank you so much for sharing that. Sounds like an incredible journey that you went through. And now, look how things have kind of unfolded. That's awesome. You talked a little bit about mental health and what impact does social media have on your mental health?
Yeah. I think there's like 2 sides to that for me specifically. There's definitely a positive side and there's always a negative side. In my opinion, social media is what you make it. Like I said, I got recruited through social media. So social media is such a positive thing in my life. But being a female athlete, there's always going to come negative sides of being on social media. Especially growing a following over this last year, you're going to get people who just want to hate. And especially being a female who doesn't meet all of the society standards of being a female athlete. I am a 6 foot tall, larger female. Like it's something that you're going to get kind of targeted for on social media. So that's been hard for me. I actually just spoke about it at breakfast this morning with Isaiah and Phoenix. And I was just like, this is something I'm struggling with. Like, I don't let hate comments get to me until they come for me in a certain way. And sometimes I just shut my comments off on posts and keep it rolling. But I think mostly social media is a positive thing if you let it be. Social media is why I'm here right now. So I just think like if you use it to the best of your ability and you give yourself boundaries, I think setting boundaries for social media is really important. I set boundaries for how long I'm on social media, how much I look at social media, because you can get into a hole of just like looking and looking, comparing yourselves. And especially as a female, it's so easy to kind of fall into that hole of like wanting to live somebody else's life or wanting to look like somebody else. So mental health, like I think social media has almost helped me in a way because it's given me this platform to be able to finally express myself how I want to. Because I think being a college athlete, you can't express yourself sometimes. I think you're stopped a lot. Like a lot of coaches don't want you to say certain things, or a lot of people don't want to see you a certain way. But my own social media platform, I can express myself however I want to. And that's really important for me to do because I have a lot of really strong beliefs. So all in all, I feel like social media has helped me because I get to be more myself, but there's always going to be that negative side that can tear you down. It's just a matter of putting boundaries and realizing like you're your own person. You're always going to get hate, especially when you're growing a following.
Yeah. Thank you. I love what you shared about, no constraints when it's your page. And funny too, that we got connected on social media through Sam Green. So that is how we connected and how, you're joining us today.
It's such a blessing.
Yes. Switching gears a little bit. I know that you grew up in the Fort Myers area in Florida. Is there, when you think about your upbringing, what is a song that comes to mind that could describe your upbringing?
Yeah. Okay, so when I got looked at this question, the first song that came to my mind was The Climb by Miley Cyrus. And I know that sounds crazy, but me and my mom, when I was a gymnast, we would listen to this song all the time and she would start crying. I'd be like, "Mom, why are you crying?" She was like, "This song just reminds me of you." And the song is basically about going through the hard times, but knowing that there's an end, knowing that you will get to the top of the ladder eventually. Because through gymnastics, I was always just the odd one out. I mean, I was this very tall, very not looking like a gymnast type of person that I was always kind of over on my own uneven bar setting because I needed a taller setting than everybody else. And I kind of always had to fight for my own spot for everything I did. So the song The Climb just helped my mom really look at me and be like, okay, she's going to get to the top of the ladder eventually because she's not going to stop. And so that song, it'll still play and my mom will start crying. And I've started to get emotional about it too. Cause I'm like, okay, this really means something to us. But it was it's just such a song that if you really look at the lyrics of it, you're gonna go through so many things, just like I told that whole story about my transfer story, but there is a top. Eventually it may not be the top that you thought you were gonna be at. I mean, I didn't think I'd ever be where I'm at right now, but it's still the definition of the top of my ladder right now. But it wasn't the definition of the top of my ladder 3 years ago. So that song just touches me, but really touches my mom.
Oh, that's awesome. You guys have that together.
Yeah.
One more question for you, and then maybe we'll do a little lightning round.
Okay.
What's something, maybe an aspiration that you have in the longer term, either personally or professionally?
Yeah. So my all-time dream is to, of course, be an Olympian. I want to be a professional athlete so bad. And I think that that's all up to God. If he has that in my plan, then he has it in my plan and I'm going to work for it. But if not, then I want to be somebody with a voice to help other people. So I kind of call myself a motivational speaker right now. And I don't know if I'm officially one yet, but I say I am. But my dream is to be able to go out and inspire athletes. I want to inspire athletes with my story, but I also want to inspire them just with my voice. Nobody's alone no matter what sport you play. I think it's so cool that I can speak about a different sport, but sometimes athletics feels really lonely. You have so many people looking at you like these idols, but we go through the same everyday life. We go through the same things that people go through. So I really want to be able to go and be a motivational speaker. I don't know if that looks like being hired onto a team or just kind of being my own brand and being able to travel to different teams and speak, but that's my dream job, to be able to go and do that. I'm really not a sit down at a desk 9-to-5 person. I have a lot of energy. I have a lot of loud voices, and I can't see myself really working under somebody, if that makes sense. So I want to be able to use my voice and my experience and my story to go and help people, because I didn't go through that for nothing. I didn't go through that to just kind of let it sit there. So if that takes me to the Olympics to be a professional athlete, then it does. And if it doesn't, then I really want to use that story and my voice to be able to go and share with others and inspire them that they too don't have to pack a suitcase and drop out of school. They can take one more step and make it to where they want to be. So
yeah, Riley, I know that your faith is very important to you. How have you taken that with you at the different schools that you've attended?
Yeah, so my faith has it's always been a part of me in my life, but it never really grew fully until I got to college, which is kind of unique for some people to say. But when I got to college, through Mississippi State, when I was kind of going through a lot, I got into a group called FCA, so this is Fellowship of Christian Athletes. I didn't really know what it was. I was just kind of invited to it, and I went, and it was amazing. Like, it was just a room full of athletes just dressed in their practice wear. Like, it was so casual, so everybody just felt so welcomed. It was just kind of, you show up who you are and you kind of take it how it is, and it was amazing. We kind of had like a big worship session, and a pastor came up and shared a message, and he related it a lot to athletes. So I think that's why it really spoke to me, because I love church and I'll go to church, but sometimes it's hard to relate to my personal life. So this group finally gave me that little like light into, okay, he's talking about athletes. This is my life. Like, I can relate this to what I'm doing every single day. And so Mississippi State, I kind of was just a listener. I kind of walked in every once in a while and listened a couple times a month. And when I transferred to Florida State, I was like, okay, I need to be a part of FCA. Like, this needs to be a part of my life. And so I went and got in contact with the FCA leaders, and there actually wasn't an FCA. They had one like a couple years ago, but they stopped right after COVID. So I was like, oh my gosh, there's no FCA. Like, I really want to be a part of that. And so I contacted with the like pastor, basically the pastor of football, who led it before. And he was like, come here on Tuesday at 7 p.m. We're going to have a meeting. And I thought it was going to be an FCA meeting. I was like, okay, cool. So I walk into his room, and there's like 3 people in there. I'm like, oh my gosh, like, I'm walking into a meeting right now. Like, there's not a lot of people here. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm the new girl. Like, and so I walked in, and they were like, hey, like, we're actually planning to start FCA. Do you want to be a part of this? Like, planning to start it again. And I was like, wow. So I feel like God really like put me in that room to start FCA at Florida State again. And so I eventually became like the lead student athlete leader. And so I would come and like share a lot of messages, but I would like put together the games and invite people and send it out to team group chats and all those things. So it really, while I was going through what I was going through at Florida State, because I had to live out the whole year, I couldn't transfer mid-year. So I was living out the year with the new coach that was hired. I had a really rough season. So track was not on my side at this point, but I had FCA to kind of lay back onto, and FCA kind of kept me sane. It kind of like gave me something to look forward to, because I wasn't looking forward to practice. I wasn't looking forward to meets, because I wasn't ready to compete. I wasn't doing well. So FCA kind of gave me that light in my life until I got to Memphis. So then I got to Memphis, and I was like, I need to do this again. We need FCA. And FCA actually was a thing at Memphis. So I was like, wow, this is amazing. Like, everything was lining up at Memphis. And so by like the second month, I got onto the leadership team at Memphis. And I've been like super close with all the leaders there. We kind of get it together every Monday. And it's just something like all of us athletes can look forward to every week. Like I said, you just show up how you are. You don't have to be fancy. You don't have to show up with all these things. You don't need anything. You don't even have to have a religious background. You just show up and you feel so welcomed and so comforted. And I think to start all of our weeks off, our weeks are so busy that to start our weeks off, like just hearing a word, even if you're not familiar with Jesus or the Bible, like just hearing a word that's comforting and inspiring and telling you like you're going to be okay, I think is super important for athletes. So FCA is just like a huge blessing in my life.
That sounds like a great way to start the week.
Yes, it's amazing.
Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing your story.
Of course.
For folks that are watching or listening, I think that's so inspirational. I do. Okay. So I'm going to ask you to, we'll do like a really fast lightning round here. That's going to be music centric.
Okay.
So on the day of your track meet, what is your go-to song?
Definitely Last Breath by Future. It's like it's from Creed. So Rocky and Creed is my thing. Like, yeah, that's a pump up song for sure.
Right. I was actually going to circle back and ask you about related to music. So like you really like Rocky and Creed. Can you say more about that?
Yes. So we're in Philly right now, and I'm like fangirling because I'm a huge Rocky and Creed fan. I could like recite every single Rocky movie possible. But it's just like, that's just one of those movies, like if I want to go and inspire people and motivate people, like the things that Rocky would say, like fires me up. Like I want to be able to be that to somebody else. So like, I want to be somebody else's Rocky movie. Like I've always said that. And so like Rocky is just something, like I told you last night, like it makes me want to go run a marathon, and I don't run, y'all. Like I throw heavy things. So Rocky is just one of those movies that like, they go through real life stuff. Like they go through all the real things, but like they don't give up. Like none of those fighters gave up, even if they lost, but like they still learned something out of it. And Rocky was always good at like finding a life lesson out of the hard times. And that's like the coolest thing ever. Even when I was little, I was like, wow, like that was really good. And I was like 8 years old. So Rocky's my thing.
Did you have some Rocky memorabilia up in your room?
Oh my gosh. I have a whole wall dedicated to Rocky. So I have all his movies lined up. And then I have the Creed movies underneath. And then I have like a whole picture, like like ensemble around it, and my whole entire room is Rocky themed. I have like 3 shirts, and yeah, it's an obsession.
So we'll make the most of it this weekend. Yeah,
I'm so excited.
And I said it was going to be lightning round, but it really turned into not lightning round. So the last question I have for you is, what song would you play or listen to when you are needing some comfort?
Comfort definitely takes me back to like my gospel music. So like worship music is like what takes me into that spot. Rescue by Lauren Daigle is like the song that will like break me down into tears, but not bad tears, just like knowing that like God's always on my side and he is going to rescue me out of anything that I'm going through, like good or bad. So worship music like as a whole, but Rescue by Lauren Daigle is like that one song that'll like really hit me.
Okay, so I'll have to check that out.
Yes, please. It's so good.
Riley, thanks so much for being with us here today. I really appreciated the opportunity to chat with you and learn more about you, and super excited for everything that you have that's coming in the future with your collegiate career and then beyond.
Thank you so much for having me. This was absolutely amazing.